Hey guys, Guardsman Duke here with another unpopular opinion. Just to take this as a, how do I put this, a thought experiment here, okay? What if I told you feminism is oppressing women? And hold on, because I know what you're saying. 'Cause you're saying, how can it possibly be oppressing women? Isn't it for women? Well, there's something I'm not sure if you guys are aware of. It's called the horseshoe theory. And the horseshoe theory is that when you get too far into either extreme, it eventually becomes indistinguishable from the other extreme. Such as extreme, let's go with the not necessarily correct but classical ideas of fascism and communism. Fascism is so far on the right, and communism is so far on the left, that at the end of the day, they're almost indistinguishable from each other. Hitler and Stalin, the only difference between the two was their economic policies. Honestly. Uh, Stalin actually killed more people for than Hitler did. However, Stalin also killed them for political reasons, whereas Hitler killed them for racial reasons, which were also political. But let's not get into that whole debate. Either way, what I'm saying is when you get too far in either direction, it's identical. So what I'm saying here is super far left feminists are no different than super far right men's rights activists or whatever you want to call them. All right, they're identical. They are identical. Because think about it, okay? First off, you got to talk about, when I say oppression, what do I mean? Well, first off, I got to say this, okay? I'm going to be using the actual dictionary definition. Now, before you guys say that the dictionary is naturally racist or sexist because it doesn't include the African American vernacular English, I will also say that the reason why it does not contain that is because there are enough differences in rules, literary rules, for it to actually be considered a completely different language, and therefore deserves its own dictionary, not the same dictionary. All right? We're speaking English right now. So I'm going to use the English definition, okay? Oppression, right, has five major definitions. It's a verb when used with an object, to oppress. Oppressing is referred to as to burden with cruel or unjust impositions or restraints, subject to a burdensome or harsh exercise of authority or power. The second one is to be heavily, to lie heavily upon. To lie heavily upon the mind of a person, an oppressive thought. This doesn't quite fit. To weigh down our, as sleep our weariness does. To be oppressed by sleep or tiredness, whatever else have you. There's also the archaic definitions, which is to put down, subdue, or suppress. To oppress a people is to oppress a rebellion. And then there's also the definition to press upon or against, to crush something, which would actually be to physically, like, push something. Like, if I were to crush something, I would be oppressing it. Now, this is archaic and not used in the typical vernacular. So we're going to ignore the bottom two. We're not talking about sleepiness of any kind, so we throw that definition out of the wall too. So, and we're not lying heavily upon someone necessarily, so we can push that aside. I'm talking about cruel or unjust impositions or restraints. Okay? Now, if we were to go fuller, too, you could also say it is repressing women. To keep under control, check, or suppress desires, feelings, and actions. Um, and I really want you guys to think about this, because with this recent resurgence in the sex negative thinking, I really want to cover this. All right? Because the reason why most women do not like feminism, the reason why Feminism has become a dirty word, as depicted in the Time magazine article. The reason why people are saying these things is because feminism has become oppressive, not just to other people, but to women as well. You are oppressing and disempowering women. And I say this because, first off, the sex negative thinking. All right, we're getting two completely different messages out of feminism. The first thing we're getting out of feminism is that controlling women is bad. Controlling who women have sex with is bad. Controlling women's bodies is bad. But at the same time, we're getting this argument that about from women to women, you can't a woman can't be a house mother. That's the wrong choice. You have to be a breadwinner. Um, every woman has to act like she is a representative of all women everywhere. So every single woman has to act in a specific way. Every woman has to be a part of feminism, otherwise you're a gender traitor. But isn't the point of feminism to give a woman that choice, the right to choose? Isn't feminism about empowering that woman to make that choice, not disempowering her to make the choice that you want her to make? So I don't get this, because if you want to empower women, a properly empowered person makes their own decisions, does their own thing. What I'm doing here is empowered. I am speaking my mind regardless of the consequences. That's called empowerment. Any woman who is empowered should be able to say whatever she wants in response to what I say, without imposing her will on other people. I'm not telling you guys to stop with the whole feminism thing. I'm saying there are problems that need to be addressed if you want to be taken seriously as a movement again. Now, to be honest, it can be argued that feminism has succeeded. Um, to be honest, and honestly, I want to ask you, what rights men have that women don't? Okay? What can men do that women can't? Alright? That doesn't have a reason. That is like if we were to argue frontline combat units in the military. If you actually talk to people who are in the military about this, the reason why they're not okay with mixed units is because a person in full military gear is fucking heavy. If you get shot, if you get downed and you're still alive, that person is now relying on his brothers in arms to carry him back, to take him back with them, to not leave him behind, right? And the issue is argue as much as you want. Biology states that women do not have the same upper body strength as men. They cannot carry as much on average. So that's where it becomes the issue. In a situation where somebody's life is dependent upon your ability to carry them, allowing women to a frontline combat situation in a mixed unit could get somebody killed, could get both of them killed. So, I mean, that has reasoning, that has sound reasoning. That's not that's not sexist. If they said women aren't allowed in combat because they're women for no other reason other than being women, that would be sexist. Yeah. But there's a set reason, there's a point to that. And I guess what I'm trying to make here is there's really, aside from imaginary and self-imposed power differentials, there are no major power differentials that I can see. At least not from my point of view, not from where I can see it, not from talking to women I know. Most women I know don't see this issue. Um, and most facts don't support this idea of a power differential. So I understand the point that, feminism tries to make, but honestly, aside from, say, in, third world countries where women are literally treated as cattle, I don't see feminism's point in the Western world. I feel that we've transcended that we should become humanist now. because we're all human beings, and at this point, we're seeking equality for everyone, not just equality for others. And I mean, the reason why I'm against, specific groups that specifically look at one group's problems or the other is that they gain tunnel vision. Not only do they become that horseshoe issue of being a problem, but they want to make their group more equal. But since they don't have the point of view of society as a whole, they only have the point of view of the group they're advocating, they don't see when they're actually making themselves more equal than others. And I really think that this is why we should really start championing ourselves as human beings, not as women, not as men, not as black people, not as white people. We should start championing ourselves as human beings. And it's honestly, I have one major question here. I'm just going to tie this up with one major question. Why is it okay for you to tell another woman what to do with her body, with her life, with her decisions? Shouldn't all people seek, whatever they want in life? We're not, and I guess this comes down to the final decision. I'll make a video about this later. Doesn't it all come down to the idea of equality of opportunity? Because what I'm seeing here is an argument of equality of outcome. That, there are less women in STEM fields, that there are, this, that, or the other thing. But I've always wondered the question, what if, just what if, most women aren't interested in science, technology, engineering, and math? I mean, I have met female people who are into that. I remember my ex-girlfriend's roommate was actually, I'm still kind of on positive terms with her. Uh, she was an engineering student, got an internship with Lockheed Martin. I don't think it's a matter of a lack of opportunity. I think what's being argued now is a lack of outcome equality, which is not necessarily like, nobody owes you an outcome. Nobody owes you that. You do it yourself. If you're interested in a STEM field, you go for that STEM field. If you're not, you should never feel pressure to make a decision with your life that you don't personally want. And I guess that comes down to my big problem right now. I don't see why every woman ever has to act a certain way to fit a narrative. That's taking away a woman's right to choose. And that's not okay. Anyway, I understand that I do not have the best perspectives in all this, so I will appreciate any other perspectives brought up in the comments. Got any messages for me? Let me know. I always want to hear them. I always want a roundtable discussion. I'm always prepared to be proven wrong. All right? At any given time, I can be proven wrong. But I will demand evidence and enough supporting factors with which that it becomes a stronger argument than what I've already witnessed. So I will show skepticism to whatever I'm given. That's just how I work. However, if you truly believe and what you have to say is the truth, no matter how much I shoot it, it's gonna keep standing. And if I've shot every hole I possibly can into it and it's still standing, I will adopt it. Anyway, as it goes, Ave Imperator, the Emperor protects, and have a great night, guys.